teach social psychology, statistics, and the history of psychology. And it just so happens that all three of those disciplines come out of or have connections with what we call the eugenics movement, which is this idea that we should start thinking about people like farmers think about their livestock, and that we'd be much better off if we do that. And so we should bring kind of like this caretaker role into human society and put people kind of in charge and make decisions for other people so that the human stock can be improved. And it's not too far from that kind of thinking to all kinds of like inhumane practices, right? Where you kind of marginalize people groups for various reasons. Sometimes they're behavioral, sometimes they're racial or ethnic. The whole notion of humans as being individually meaningful and having theological value, that is, they're made in the image and likeness of God, was getting lost. And I saw a direct connection between that and the horrors of the Holocaust, and I wanted my students to walk with me through this.
I definitely did not realize how close everything was in terms of time, but also in space. These concentration camps were happening in the middle of a town with the people knowing about it the whole time. I don't really understand what the people were thinking in the town. Like, how could they let this happen?
It was my opinion that I had to do that when the female matron was instructing this because I was an official. I told myself I already did so many things in my job. Well, now I have to do this as well because I was an official and I thought I should respond like a soldier. My line of thoughts in that time was that I thought I am not responsible under criminal law because it was ordered by a chief. But the behavior was against my conscience. If I would have known that I would be called to account under criminal law, I wouldn't have done it.
I find myself learning something a lot each time. I mean, there's just like an inexhaustible amount of information to learn. So it's not like I get bored. I'm more concerned about becoming weary with just the heaviness of it because I know what I'm about ready to experience. And yet I look forward to it because I know that it's going to mean something to the students. I really start to just take it in through the eyes of the students.
During the whole trip, I had a hard time being aware of where I was and really like realizing what had happened here. But at the Jewish Museum, the way they had the art and the architecture, you could feel it, like the concepts of loneliness and despair, you could actually feel that through the exhibits they had there, and I really appreciated it.
If you're interested in looking at the most difficult moral event in the last century that kind of defined the century, you can almost swing the hinge of the century on World War II and the Holocaust. If you're interested in studying that and looking at it at the location and actually talking to people, experts who walk you through these sites, this is a good trip for you.
I would tell them that if they wanted to have their whole perspective of the world flipped around, then this trip would be the one to go on.